Lowry.
All right, good morning, and welcome to the Cook County Health Board meeting of today, Friday, April 25th, and a little late started. It was like Grand Central Station out there out front, so tough getting in, but I have the honor of serving as the chair, Raul Garza, and I want to welcome everybody to the board meeting. At this point, I'm officially calling the meeting to order, and I'd like to ask the secretary to call the roll of attendance, please.
Present.
Director Harrington.
Present.
Director Kim. Present. Vice Chair Lowry.
Present.
Director Masuda Barnett. Present. Director Ryder is absent. Director Robinson.
Present.
Director Sorrell. Present. Director Staines. Present. And Chair Garza.
I am present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The next regular meeting of the Cook County Health Board is on Friday, May 22nd at 9 a.m. We do have Vice Chair Lowry participating remotely, so I'd like to ask for a motion to allow Vice Chair Lowry to remotely participate in this meeting as a voting member.
So moved.
Second.
We have a first and second. Is there any discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries. And as I've said repeatedly, my favorite part of the agenda is employee recognition. I'll turn that over to Dr. Eric McKitis, the CEO of the system.
Thank you, Chair Garza. Good morning, directors. Good morning. It's my favorite part, too. So we're going to start with new hires, as always. Next slide, Deb. Thanks. Okay, and we're going to welcome Corey Hill, Executive Director of HIM Coding and Revenue Integrity, Alfred Bolden, Director of Nursing Operations, Daniel Kratz, Senior Manager of Integrated Care Management Programs, Health Plan Services, excuse me, Daryl McCrimmon, Manager of Operations, Regional Outpatient Center, Stacy Gilbert, Nurse Coordinator 2, CIRMAC, and Leslie Bowers, Nurse Manager Registry, CIRMAC. And congratulations to our team members who've earned promotions in the last month. Guara Vrana, Director of Radiology, Residency Program Director, Jenny Liu, Director of Medical Toxicology, Emergency Medicine, Andrew Wheeler, Director of Trauma Recovery, Intervention and Prevention, Peter Kishkowski, Director of Data Integration and Analytics, Health Plan Services, Marciana Bowen, Clinical Nurse Leader, ACHN, and Diana Paniker, Clinical Manager, Ambulatory Procedure Unit, Endoscopy. And we'll shift to some recognitions and announcements, starting with our trauma unit. And as always, if you're in the room, please stand so we can recognize you. We held a press conference just yesterday to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Cook County Health Trauma and Burn Unit. The unit was founded in 1966 by Dr. Robert Freark and Dr. Robert Baker, It was the first comprehensive trauma unit in the nation with dedicated and specialized multidisciplinary teams. Cook County's trauma and burn unit became the model for other hospitals and led to the creation of regional and state emergency medical services systems. Today, the unit continues to be at the forefront of trauma and burn medicine and is the only unit in Chicago to have earned the prestigious verification status as a level 1 trauma unit through the American College of Surgeons, the first in Chicago and the second in Illinois. We want to recognize Sarah Ahmed with our Good Catch Award for this month. Sarah identified a concerning health condition in a patient before surgery, and this early identification and clear team communication exemplify a strong commitment to patient safety and highlighting how speaking up for safety can prevent harm. I don't see Sarah with us, but congratulations, Sarah. And congratulations as well to Calvin Horton, who's one of our environmental service team members. He recently identified a nurse in the emergency room who was having a stroke. He recognized the warning signs, immediately acted, and escorted the nurse to triage so she could receive prompt medical evaluation and care. His quick thinking and his willingness to act played an important role in ensuring the nurse received timely attention. His actions reflect the best of our organization's mission and the importance of empowering every member to speak up and act when something doesn't seem right. Congratulations and thank you, Calvin. And congratulations to Catania Norwood and Alfreda Holloway-Beth for being named distinguished members of the 2026 Chicago Defender Women of Excellence class. The 2026 Women of Excellence honorees represent an extraordinary collection of leaders who stand as a testament to vision, resilience, and excellence in action. Congratulations. And congratulations to our Chief Experience Officer, Ling Dang, who was named to Becker's healthcare list of 56 hospitals and health system CXOs to know. Congratulations. And congratulations to Lisa Brown, System Safety Management Officer, for getting recognized by her alma mater, Purdue University, with the Distinguished Alumni Award. The Alumni Awards celebrate the outstanding achievements, leadership, and service of graduates who are making a meaningful impact in their professions and communities. Congratulations, Lisa.
Okay, Dr. McKitis, I'm gonna take this over. This was part of my chair's update. So I can't tell you how proud I am that we have 3 individuals that are being recognized by Crane Chicago Business as notable healthcare leaders list for 2026. Our very own Dr. Eric McKitis, Dr. Audrey Tanksley, Chief Medical Officer of County Care, and the guy that's on a roll, CCH Director, Dr. Jay Bott. What's it going to be next month, Jay? Actually, in 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks ago we recognized you. How about a big congratulations to these 3 that represent the county system? Okay, now I'll give it back to you.
Okay, I'm going to give it over to Dr. Smith.
Good morning, Directors. Dr. Lauren Smith, Chief Medical Officer. This morning, I'm honored to present the 2026 Doctor of the Year Award. I did want to let the directors know we did change the process a little bit this year, and so each department was able to nominate one or two physicians, depending on their size, for this award this year, and really focusing on clinical excellence, research, indoor service. And so we got a lot of nominations, and then we had a panel that actually reviewed all the nominations and selected our winner. So this year's awardee is Dr. Michael Mullane. As a medical oncologist, Dr. Mullane has served Cook County Health for more than 2 decades. For more than 2 decades with unmatched clinical excellence, compassion, and service. He delivers holistic, patient-centered care that extends far beyond oncology, often managing complex comorbidities and stepping in wherever care is needed. As one nominator wrote, he is a one-stop shop for his patients, and, quote, treats the whole patient regardless of whether the need is oncology-related or not. His dedication is seen in countless acts of service, including personally transporting patients to the emergency department when urgent care is needed, described by colleagues as actions he, quote, did not need to do, but he did. He also ensures access to life-saving therapies regardless of ability to pay, such as identifying ways to secure medications at low cost for uninsured patients. His constant presence at clinic, readiness to cover colleagues without hesitation, and maintaining the highest patient visit volume in the system further reflects his unwavering commitment to exceptional care. He is equally revered as an educator and mentor. He has shaped generations of residents, fellows, advanced practice providers through humility, clinical wisdom, and genuine respect for learners. As nominators unanimously shared, he was selected Teacher of the Year 2024-25. Fellows consistently note his supportive teaching style, with one stating in parentheses, he challenges us to grow while consistently supporting and encouraging us. Another praise that he took time to sit with me and explain concepts that were difficult, never once showing frustration. His collaborative spirit is best captured in the fondly recalled phrases he uses with trainees. I need a medicine consult, demonstrating his humility and willingness to learn from others. Regardless of hierarchy, his influence extends into research, where he has served as a leader within the IRB. He mentors trainees and does clinical investigation and contributes to national oncology research. Lastly, Dr. Mullane is admired for his humanity. Patients and colleagues consistently describe him as the best doctor they have ever had. Someone who remembers patients, families, walks to visit hospitalized patients, and supports individuals through their most vulnerable moments. One nominator wrote, he is available 24/7 to anyone, patients or peers who need his help. He was described as our most loved and respected physician, a sentiment echoed across dozens of nomination letters submitted within a single day on his behalf. His extraordinary clinical skills, leadership, mentorship, and compassion make Dr. Michael Mullane an exemplary and uniquely deserving candidate for the 2026 Doctor of the Year Award.
When I received the award, I didn't realize what everyone had written about me, all these exaggerations, which a lot of which you just heard. So I want to thank everybody for doing
All right, thank you, Dr. Smith. Congratulations, Dr. Mullane, and that concludes the recognition section.
Thank you. That was fun and impressive, and feeling good about it. We'll move to item number 3. Madam Secretary, are there any speakers registered to provide virtual or in-person testimony, or has any written testimony been sent to be included into the record?
We have one registered speaker. It is Julian Rucker.
Okay.
And just a reminder, you have 3 minutes. I'll remind you when you have 1 minute remaining and then when your time has elapsed.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Welcome, Julian.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Cook County Health Board members, and wow. I came here today and I just witnessed something about progress, and it really warms my heart because my journey is totally different from what I just seen were their achievements and accolades. You would actually think I would be the last person to speak before the Cook County Health Board, because I sued the board. But rethinking, I think I'm the best person to speak on this matter. More than 40% of the lawsuits in Cook County healthcare system are misdiagnosis and failure to diagnose. My story is a misdiagnosis. I was diagnosed at a public hospital, a county hospital, for lung cancer. I was on the operating table. It was discovered that I didn't have cancer. Moving forward, I lost my left lung. It took me 8 years to really grasp what had happened in my life. The other thing, and that was the misdiagnosed side. That's the 745 ILCS 10/6-106. I want to talk about 745 ILCS/106-105. That is failure to diagnose. Lightning strikes in two places, I guess. A friend of mine whose mother was an elected Cook County official went to a public hospital for back spasms. Sent home with medication, had radiology tests and everything done, only to find out 8 months later he had a tumor removed from his back about the size of a baseball. At that point, it was considered stage 4 cancer, and it had metastasized. Those are just some of the stories, since I've become a patient advocate, that I'm sharing, along with my own personal experience.
1 minute remaining.
Okay. One of the things moving forward, I kind of recognize of going through this, is requesting a moratorium period. In all of these cases, 40% of these cases, these diagnoses were done by one physician. And there's been a conversation about having a moratorium period. Once a diagnosis is made, it would be 3 other doctors from that same field that would work collectively to come up with a more adequate or accurate diagnosis. And I think that would really help. Like I said, 40% is an extreme high number. But I saw something today that I'd never seen before. I'd always seen the bad part of the hospital because what happened to me. But after seeing what I saw today, I feel a little better. And like I said, I've become a patient advocate. So these types of conversations are dear to me. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Julian, and thank you for your courage and your testimony. We'll move to item number 4, board and committee reports. And specifically, item 4A, minutes of the April 10th, 2026 board meeting. And I'll present those. And I'll ask if there are any corrections at this point to those minutes. If there are none, then I would ask for a motion to approve item 4A, the board meeting minutes of April 10th, 2026.
So moved. Second.
Thank you for the first and second to the motion. Are there any comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. We will now move to item 4B, minutes of the April 17th, 2026 Audit and Compliance Committee meeting, and Director Harrington, my colleague, will present those minutes.
The Audit and Compliance Committee met on Friday, April 17th at 9 a.m. Our next regular meeting of the committee is scheduled to be held on Friday, June 5th at 10 a.m. Nicole Amero, Chief Corporate Compliance and Privacy Officer, reviewed the report, which included information on the following subjects and proposed action items. Privacy update, which consisted of compliance under new Part 2 rules. FY 2026 privacy work plan, which included education, notice of privacy practice audits, expanding business associates attestation, and the last issue was year-end breach reporting review. County Care Compliance and Fraud, Waste and Abuse Plan was also reviewed and was requested for approval. The committee recommended approval of the County Care Compliance and Fraud, Waste and Abuse Plan. And we also had Tom Schrader, Director of Internal Audit, present 2 items for the committee's consideration. The committee recommended approval of the Internal Audit Strategy Plan and the Internal Audit Charter. The committee did go into closed meeting to review reports, but there is no plan to re-review those today at the closed meeting. So the minutes can be approved at this time.
Thank you, Director Harrington. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve item 4B, the minutes of the meeting of the Audit, Audit and Compliance Committee that took place on April 17th, 2026, which included approval of the following items: approval of the County Care Compliance and Fraud, Waste, and Abuse Plan, approval of the Internal Audit Strategic Plan, and approval of the Internal Audit Charter. Can I have a motion, please? So moved. Thank you. Second. Thank you for the second. Is there any discussion or comments on this? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move to item 4C, minutes of the April 17th, 2026 Managed Care Committee meeting. And Vice Chair Lowry, who is remote, will take us through that review, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'm trying to second. I'm struggling in Tampa in the sun, so give me a moment.
Vice Chair Lowry, you're not very audible right now. Are you still with us? I'm not sure.
You come back to me. Let me get my notes pulled up.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Let's go with the next report while I'm pulling up these the information I need, please.
Okay, we'll move to, we'll come back to you.
Thank you.
And, oh, of course. We'll go to item 4D, minutes of the April 17th, 2026 Quality and Patient Safety Committee meeting. And I'll ask Director Bott, who chairs that committee, to go through the review, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Quality and Patient Safety Committee met on Friday, April 17th at 11 a.m. Next meeting of the committee will be held on Friday, May 15th at 9 a.m. The committee approved the following action items which are included in the minutes. Approved 2 Stroger Hospital Division Chair reappointments. Approved Stroger and Provident Hospital medical staff appointments, reappointments, changes. The committee received the following reports which are included in the minutes for review: quality, safety, and experience scorecards for Stroger Hospital, Provident Hospital, ACHN, CERMAC, CCDPH, and County Care. We also had a regulatory update. I also just want to say thank you for all the work that went into fulfilling the strategic initiatives that are outlined in the packet, which you'll hear about more, including the level 1 trauma designation. So appreciate the staff's work. So if there are no other questions on the minutes, they're being presented for the board's consideration at this time.
Thank you, Director Bott. So I would like to ask for a motion to approve item 4D, the minutes of the meeting of the Quality and Patient Safety Committee that took place on April 17, 2026, which included approval of the following items: 2 Stroger Hospital Division Chair reappointments and the Stroger Hospital and Provident Hospital medical staff appointments, reappointments, and changes. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
We have a first and a second. Is there any discussion or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion carries. We'll go to 4E and then come back. Actually, I'm sorry, Vice Chair Lowry will handle both areas. So we'll go back to 4C and review the minutes of the April 17th, 2026 Managed Care Committee meeting. Thank you, Vice Chair Lowry, for presenting those.
My pleasure. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. The Managed Care Committee met on Friday, April 17th. The next regular meeting of the committee is scheduled on Friday, July 10th at 10 a.m. We received a report, which is included in your packet, from Aaron Galiner, Chief Administrative Officer of Health Plan Services, along with other staff members. The report centered on the following: health plan metrics, Q1 wins, 2026 strategic initiatives and priorities, fiscal resilience, strategic initiatives and priorities, quality, safety, and experience, transformation and growth, outreach and partnerships, communications, data sharing, HFS, RFP and the contract update, and workforce. Those were the matters that we considered and received at the committee. Are there any questions? And if not, I'd submit these minutes for approval.
Doesn't appear to be any questions. Thank you, Vice Chair Lowry. So I'd like to ask for a motion to approve item 4C, the minutes of the meeting of the Managed Care Committee that took place on April 17, 2026.
So moved. Second.
Thank you for the first and second to the motion. There wasn't any need for discussion, but I'll stay in line with the process here. Any comments or remarks? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries. We'll stay with you, Vice Chair Lowry. We'll go to item 4E, minutes of the April 2026 Finance Committee meeting.
Thank you, Chair. The Finance Committee met on April 20th at 10 a.m. The committee considered the following action items, which are included in the minutes. We conditionally approved 14 contracts and procurement items. Numbers 3 and 6 are pending review by contract compliance. On the screen, you will see contractual reports from the Finance Committee meeting whose fiscal impacts are greater than $1 million. Those are highlighted for your information. We also received and filed grant award related items. The committee received the following reports, which are included in the minutes. Report of February financials, agency reduction report. The next regular meeting of the Finance Committee is scheduled to be held on Thursday, May 7th at 10 a.m. And if there are any questions, we have our amazing staff members available to answer them. Those are the minutes from the most recent Finance Committee meeting on April 20th.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lowry. So I'd like to ask for a motion to approve item 4E, the April 20th, 2026 Finance Committee meeting minutes, which contain the following action items: conditional approval of the contracts and procurement items pending review by the contract compliance, and receiving and filing of the grant award related items. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? And that motion carries. Item 5, contracts and procurement items. None are being presented today. So we'll move right down to item 6, report from the chair, which I gave partially at the beginning. But I do want to share that the Cook County family suffered a tragic loss with the passing of Barb and Caleb Deere, who were the family, husband and son of the late Commissioner Dennis Deere. And I would just say that keep their family and friends in your prayers and your thoughts, please. We'll go back to, we'll go to item 7, and we'll go back to the CEO report being presented by Dr. McItis.
Thank you, Chair Garza. Hello again, directors. We have a few items for you today. We'll do an ARPA update with Andrea Gibson, as well as a strategic initiative update. We're going to give a bit of an overview of the work that's now happening with the Medicaid Impact Work Group, and then our CIRMAC Health Services leadership team is here to present an update. Andrea?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Andrea Gibson, Chief Strategy Officer. First slide. So a few of these things have been mentioned, so I'll just highlight a few of the items on our strategic initiatives report. Under quality, safety, and experience, CCDPH, a community behavioral health unit, now distributes naloxone by mail. We've also started a lot of additional services related to dental care. Endodontic services began at Belmont Cragen A new dentist started for Cottage Grove, and dental services started also at Morton East School-Based Health Center. Under workforce, the Department of Medicine had a 100% match for dermatology and primary care tracks of the internal medicine residency program. Under transformation and growth, Providence surgery volume increased by 45% in the first quarter this year compared to last year. Overall surgery volumes are up across the organization. Secondly, we've completed the installation of the Stroger MRI, which will improve inpatient throughput. Under fiscal resilience, we've developed a process to identify Aetna patients who are approaching their Medicaid redetermination date and sending text messages with information to make sure there aren't gaps in coverage. Something that's coming soon is a undue medical debt payout of, we're estimating $5 to $6 million that would apply to this year. So those are just some of the highlights. You can, I didn't want to repeat some of the things that were in recognition. Next to the next slide, please. As far as ARPA, we have it's 181 million total. We have until, if you remember, until the end of December to spend those dollars. And we are chugging along, I think, 4 million more than last month, with 50 million to go. We've been working on pushing expenditure acceleration plans with our subrecipients, and we've also been focusing on payment processing to help support that cash flow. So be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions?
I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
On the first slide, you talked about our naloxone distribution. It'd be helpful for me to get more information. I might be a closed session, but I'd like to have a better understanding of what we're doing and how it's working. And in terms of the remaining expenses, we're on target, and when do you think all this will be completed?
Well, no matter what, it'll be over end of December, but we have a couple of milestones ahead of that. September 30th is the most critical because that's the date that our subrecipients have to stop spending. Their programmatic dollars only go through September. And then it'll be working with the county to close all of the things out and pay straggler invoices and things like that. So we've got those two milestones ahead of us.
Yeah, so it'd be helpful to get an update in July before we get to September or August, so we know where we are and we're not running behind.
I come every month, so I'll be happy to come in July as well. So. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Director.
You said something that was really key, so congratulations on it. You made reference to the identification of Aetna patients with redetermination.
Yes.
So.
We want to expand it. Yes, I could tell where you're going. Yeah, I almost said that, and then I thought that would be too long of an update. But we'd like to, I mean, obviously County Care has done a great job with redetermination. And so, you know, we've been thinking internally as a provider, how do we emulate some of that work directly with our managed care patients? It does require a little coordination with the MCO. So we're trying to work that through to get more of the MCOs at the table for that. But we want to play a role in that redetermination effort.
Now, that's great work. That is fantastic work.
It's a great plan. Well,
yeah. We got to start with a plan.
Yeah.
We have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, I'm happy. I'm very happy. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Director Robertson. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate the report.
Yeah, and I would just observe we're being consistent in terms of what we do. Trying to stay ahead of the curve.
extra kindness, looks like we'll go to the Medicaid impact.
Yes, thank you. So along those lines, of trying to stay ahead, so we've talked at a high level about the Medicaid impact work group, so we're gonna do a little bit more detail, and provide an update on, pretty significant launch in terms of the communications that have come out of this group. So, just for background, in September of 2025, we, convened, the first large meeting, for the Medicaid impact work group, and brought together over 60 healthcare providers, payers, foundations, academic leaders, advocates, community organizations, and business leaders, to really have a broader discussion, not just healthcare focused, about how we might mitigate the impacts of HR 1. And a few ideas came out initially of things that we've started work on. The first was creating and disseminating a communications plan. So that's the piece we'll talk about in the next few slides. But you see there are a few of the other things that we're looking at, redetermination being one. And, you know, I know everyone's aware, but county care at any given point is somewhere 10 to 12% we're losing through in the redetermination, so, you know, 90% retention. But the state average is somewhere in the low 70s. So getting those best practices shared across the health plan so that we're able to ensure that, you know, even outside of county care, we're retaining as many lives as possible. And then, you know, how are we using technology to identify, you know, eligible individuals, and then focusing on exempting the eligible individuals, right? So there's, you know, medical frailty is one of the things that basically gets people taken off of that renewal hamster wheel, right? They're automatically renewed. So ensuring that we're compliantly doing this, and accurately doing it, but that we're not losing anybody that, you know, has that potential to come off of the redetermination cycle. And then the secondary piece, once we get all of this proactive action items out of the way, is going to be how do we then strengthen and coordinate healthcare for the people who end up being uninsured. So 3 work groups have come out of the larger discussion: communicate and educate, coalition building, and innovating and creating. And the full group reconvened just in March again, and these subgroups have been meeting monthly or every other month. HFS has been a really great partner through all of this. Unfortunately, we have not gotten federal guidance yet on what the new policies and systems are going to look like. So what are work requirements going to look like? Now, when I was in DC, had the opportunity to speak with CMS leadership, and they had indicated by June, they had committed by June that they'll have information to the states. So unfortunately, from a timeline perspective, that's very, very tight. You know, getting the information in June and having to test by September, it's really gives the state like 3 months to create and implement the system. So it's going to be all hands on deck once that guidance comes. And then we've been having similar conversations at NACO, the National Association of Counties, under the president's leadership. So she's been leading a collaborative group that's having similar discussions at kind of the county political level. So go to the next slide. That is a picture of our first meeting, just for perspective of how much engagement we had. It was a very full room. Next slide. There are our 3 work groups. So communicate and educate, focusing on keeping audiences informed and coordinated, ready to act. Coalition building is developing partnerships, and then innovating is identifying barriers and designing improvements around that. And that a lot of work there right now, and kind of the technical pieces and supporting the state. Again, they've been really great partners, especially in that work group. They've been really focused on how we can mitigate impact. Next slide. So our first launch out of these work groups was through the communication subgroup under Alex Normington's leadership, and just a fantastic output here. We've launched a microsite that's focusing on keeping people enrolled, connected, and informed. And there's various sections on the website. So you can see in kind of the middle of the slide, there's the stay enrolled. So there's a calendar there. We have redetermination events, available location and information about where and when to go to get re-enrolled. Staying connected, there's a link out to HFS's website where they can check their own information and update if it's inaccurate. So that's been a big initial push, make sure that addresses, phone numbers are all correct. And then staying informed, a very robust FAQ for people to stay informed. And next slide. So we've also launched toolkits, and this is aimed not at individuals, but at our community partners, and not just health systems and, you know, physician offices, but for business leaders where their employees may rely on Medicaid, for academic institutions where students or families of students might be on Medicaid. So one of the first things that came out in September is that everyone's kind of making it up on their own. They're trying to figure out how to message all of this. So this is an attempt to standardize it. It's been vetted through the state, and it's out and available. We took an open source approach on this, so it's not branded. We brand it ourselves when we're sending it to our communities, but this is available for download for anybody who wants to communicate to their employees, their membership, whatever, you know. So we're even thinking churches and religious organizations to get out to their membership as well, to use this as a tool. But the thinking here is that if they're branding it to their own organization, there's an extra level of trust from the people receiving it. So if it's from the independent doctor's office in a community, right, and that doctor's name or their office is listed on the resource, then, you know, their patients will trust it a little bit more. They may never, you know, interacted with Cook County Health, so for us to just brand it as CCH would seem like a missed opportunity. Next slide. And then just a call out on the languages. Again, that's the toolkit, and we have resources in Spanish, Ukrainian, Arabic, Mandarin, and Polish. I think I got them all. There's 6 languages, and we're exploring a couple of more right now, a couple more languages. Next slide. So the ask is to help us amplify in your circles outside of your board work, to help us amplify the microsite, make sure that we're getting the word out there. We've had some great pickup in the media, a lot of interest, but you know, again, kind of amplifying that ground game and making sure that we're sharing the information. We're planning, just for awareness, a virtual meeting of the full work group in the summer, and then we'll be back in person in the fall. There's the link for sign up, and then any questions can be sent to Kathy Chan. Her email is there. And just a shout out for Kathy. She has been really leading all of this work and has just been doing a phenomenal job. So I don't know if Kathy's listening or here with us, but thank you, Kathy. It can shift to, if there's any questions, we can certainly pause, but if not, we'll hand it over to the CERMAC team.
Questions?
Yes, sir.
I had one question.
Oh, yeah.
We can go there first.
Go ahead, Director Robinson. I'll follow you.
Okay. Back to you, Director Robinson. Okay. Fantastic. This is great stuff. This is very good stuff here. Question, and I can never remember her name. She's sitting in the audience. I'm sorry, I just cannot remember her name. Who your role?
Alex?
No. Your role that you used to have.
Oh, Chief Quality Officer, that's Raji.
Yes,
right.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry. Is she involved?
Raji, are you directly involved in the impact work group? No, I don't think so. I don't think she has been.
The reason why I'm asking, because I think this is fantastic work. I just wonder if she may put a different spin on it that may help to bring some other things that are being missed in there. Because of the skill sets that she has and that her department has, I think she can add. I'm not trying to create more work, but what I'm trying to do, I think this is good stuff here. And my process is always, I see it, let's see if there's a way to make it better, or how can we actually disseminate it to others. And I know she has the skill set to do that. And if she doesn't, she can talk to Director Bott.
Now you're pulling all these people into the mix. No,
But
I actually was gonna follow up on it, so whenever you're done,
No,
go ahead.
But yeah, we can certainly run it by Raji and team. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the point maybe Director Robinson is getting at is really this, that quality and safety is part and parcel to the impact work group, which I agree with and think it is important to consider. And the other is, looking at other jurisdictions and seeing how they may be handling this, because we might learn something from that we might want to incorporate if we haven't done that already. So that's the other suggestion. But this is great work and important work in any way that we can be helpful.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah. No, it's a great call out. We have kind of looked around and to see what else might be happening, and it seems the vast majority is kind of just bracing for impact and waiting to see how bad it gets. So this was kind of more of a proactive, let's try to get in front of it and engage a broader community. I will say there's been broader kind of statewide interest in looking at all of this, and Alex actually got plugged in through through the Michael Reese Foundation, there's an FQHC in Michigan that wants to lift it up to the state of Michigan to say, well, is there something that we can pull out of this to kind of mirror what's happening here? So it's kind of been the opposite, where people have reached out and said, you know, Jay, this is pretty interesting. You know, can we use it in our circles? So yeah.
And then the other thing I would say, I think just what might be happening, and I don't know explicitly our data, but I suspect that the acuity of inpatient complexity is going up, and then what's showing up in the emergency room. So as folks may come off Medicaid and go through these interim periods that end up in the emergency room, that then complicate the acuity considerations of who, you know, can get access when and where, I think are important scenarios and things to work through. Just think about this as emergency preparedness, you know, scenario planning and
absolutely. Yeah, that's been the fear, right? Is that it's not going to be high blood pressure and diabetes in the office. It's going to be strokes and heart attacks in the ED. That's kind of the secondary piece right now. We've been really focused on the let's minimize the damage, right? The losses. But the secondary piece, especially with the coalition building and the innovation teams, is what are we going to do about the people who no longer have insurance and are in that situation now, where they're going to show up sicker,
complicated by unprecedented aging and 60 years, 65.
Interesting.
Just sort of in follow-up to that too, is there also, it may be outside the purview of this group, but maybe it's elsewhere happening, looking at what the impact may be on the safety net hospital networks with all of this? Obviously, there's, I would think, significant concern.
Absolutely. I mean, we're already seeing instability now, and that's without any of this. I mean, this starts in October and carries into 2027 with people losing coverage, right? Just to the point of financial strain. And then you've got the 340B argument that's happening, that's going to be yet another head potentially. Yes, my understanding is the state is working on creating a work group to talk about the broader kind of safety net implications.
I think Deputy Governor Ho is convening a meeting next week, actually, of federally qualified health centers and safety nets to start really looking at this. So to say that we're ahead of it is an understatement. I've had the opportunity to sit in on both in-person meetings, and Director Harrington was at least present at one of them. And it really is an engaged group that wants to be in the room and wants to make an impact. And I don't think the work ends on, you know, at the end of this year. I think it has the energy and the value to continue to move forward and really be dynamic in trying to solve a problem that we're going to end up being faced with in a dramatic way, I think, in the next 8 months. So I appreciate your work. Vice Chair Lowry, I think you had a question or comment?
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Dr. Makaitis. When I'm in the district and throughout Cook County, what I'm hearing raised most is the looming work requirement. I'm wondering if the impact group is looking into this issue, and if so, what's the plan moving forward to ultimately have partners in this space? And that includes, what are we planning relative to our own vehicle, County Care?
Yeah, in terms of work requirements, that one is a little challenging. That is the piece that we do not have details yet from the federal government in terms of how it's going to work. So while we have ideas and kind of a high-level concept of, you know, 80 hours a month and volunteering and working and, you know, say, or in school are the three categories, there isn't yet a lot of clarity, unfortunately. But it is a space that we're ready to start tackling within the impact work group. We're just kind of waiting on the detail. Again, working with the state, they've been involved. Everyone's kind of flying blind right now in that regard.
Thank you.
Director Harrington.
Yeah, I'm going to make an analogy, and as I've been listening, what I'm thinking about is this idea of there's a storm coming, and you prepare as much as you can, but you have to deal with what happens when you're in the middle of the storm and things are going on. So I think we're doing an excellent job in terms of preparing. The question will be at some point, how nimble are we to actually adjust based upon what happens? And I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case. But there's going to come a point where we're going to have to make some very quick decisions about how we move forward. I do recall also that when these cuts were announced, there was an uptick in people taking advantage of services, thinking that perhaps they might need those services later, but they might not have them because they would lose coverage. And I don't know, that's still the trend. People are coming in more regularly, seeing the doctors. But if that's dropped off, there is a storm coming.
Yeah. And just to build on Director Harrington's point, and you all maybe already think about this, is what does the cross-functional engine room look like? You know, the central command that you can look at the data on a bi-weekly basis or weekly basis and say, okay, we got to move and have agility, you know, based on that data and take action on some things versus not.
On that point, that's why I think, Raji can play a crucial role. Because if you want to be able to pivot quickly, you have to have the infrastructure and the system set in place to be able to make that nimble movement. And that's where her group can really push it forward. Also, Dr. Bott, I want to go back to, you made mention of the higher acuity that's coming as a result of people losing their coverage.
No, I'm saying that there's already higher acuity because of unprecedented aging we're experiencing in this country, and superimpose the Medicaid issue on top of that. And then there's
Life
Right.
expectancy continues to increase.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm sorry for not quite getting it right. But this is a question that I asked a while back about the ability to be able to redirect those folks to ACHN, FQHCs, but to find a way, and we have to look at it from a financial standpoint as well to see what makes sense, because I can let them come in and everything's really, the roof is falling in. What is the cost associated with that versus being more preventative and getting them into some type of general care, even though both scenarios are not covered and it's a cost, but it becomes a total cost accounting problem. And maybe something can be done. Again, I don't know. I'm trying to put out a very 30,000-foot thought process toward it.
Yeah. I think in a few ways we're trying to be ready for that, for the uninsured piece, for the aging, for the higher acuity, and to your point about sicker people showing up because they didn't have the preventative care, right? I think we've talked before about, just take colon cancer, for example, right? Doing a colonoscopy is about $2,500. Treating a stage 4 colon cancer patient is about $130,000, right? So when it's an uninsured patient, right, that moving the cost in that direction makes no sense. So, and let's not talk about, right, the impact to the person, the family, the community, right? I mean, there's the human impact that's even more important. But I would say, I think we've been getting ready for that for some time now in that population health mindset that we're shifting towards in the ambulatory setting. The idea there is when we do receive uninsured patients, right, that we're at full risk for the treatment of that patient. So do we want them going to the ER, or do we want to see them in a clinic? So that's exactly the thinking that we're trying to start instilling, and kind of the broader population, insured or not, right, that we want to make sure we're upstream, we're preventative, we're focusing on wellness, and not letting, the acute things, as you said, I think the roof is falling in, right? We'd rather avoid that if at all possible, from a financial, but more importantly, from a human standpoint.
We have differentiated, I think, capabilities to bring in the sense of public health integrated into the system.
Right.
And CERMAC, so like just thinking about public health's role in this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Karen and team have been a big part of, as have IDPH, and
Which I
the
suspect,
impact work group, yeah. And CDPH too, I believe, has been at the table, yeah. So we have all three public health departments, the major ones, in Illinois. And then the other piece is the innovation. I've kind of alluded to it, but the innovation subgroup, that's kind of the secondary focus once we figure out all the ways we can think of to mitigate the impact, kind of get ready for the storm, is to then think about what systems can we put in place to ensure that the care delivery for the uninsured is upstream.
A way to try to get a grip on it may be, and this is just a thought again, if you start to look at some predictive modeling. And then I think we've already talked about geo-mapping, and then create the heat census, a heat map to understand where those people are located. And then bring in the communications to try to target them, to help them recognize how important this is, then followed up by someone maybe possibly knocking on the door, whatever the case may be, to try to get some of those preventative screenings done. But if we don't take a systematic approach to it, then we're waiting on the roof to fall in, and that's, from a fiscal standpoint, may not be the best way to approach it.
Right.
I think it's systematic, but I also believe it's population health. This is where it's going to be.
Oh, absolutely.
Just wanted to touch on a couple of previous comments, but I think learnings can actually happen through SNAP related to the work requirements, because there's been efforts, I think, to stand up different pieces to try to, you know, fill in the gap. So I think we should see,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely
And we're grateful within the impact work group that DHS has been involved, right? So that's the agency that administers SNAP as well as Greater Chicago Food Depository. They've been a great partner as well in the discussions. But yeah, there's also, I think, discussion and work happening around how we cross-pollinate between. So like if you're getting exempted on the SNAP side, let's make that happen on the Medicaid side. So it's all kind of interconnected. Jaffer, so Dr. Hassan is half of the leadership team of the group for innovation. So just making sure you're getting all the heat mapping and all of that.
But to make sure this is just not us having our conversation and having fun with it, it seemed like it may be helpful if we could actually have someone coming to present and talk on this, because we know this is real, but if we don't put some teeth to it, we're just having fun here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So again, the big kind of takeaway here was the microsite, right, as the communications piece. The other two teams are also working, and they'll have stuff to update as well. So yeah, I mean, we can probably go like a quarterly cadence here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a balance,
Updates.
because I think Dr. McKitis leading this, multidisciplinary, multifaceted, group, also multi-represented by every level of healthcare, really, they're keeping up with what information is being put out there by the federal government. And I think what I observe, what I experience is the state is somewhat taking the lead, or taking their lead also from what Dr. McKitis is doing around communication. Unfortunately, to your point about the job requirements, some of the information isn't out there yet. So that doesn't stop us from thinking about it differently or working around it in some ways. I know in my work, there's a lot of workarounds that we have to do as a result of what's happening at the federal level. With respect to the ability or the need to be agile and nimble, the county health system, I would also say that needs to apply to the board as well. We need to be nimble and agile to be in the best position to support the agility and nimbleness that the counties are going to need to operate. This is all happening, and not just in January, but between now and January. So whatever they'll need, we'll need to ensure that we're there to support Dr. McKitis and the staff.
Yeah, I just wanted to amplify on that, because that's what I was going to talk about. There's a lot that we still don't know. And so we do have to be nimble and prepared to adjust based upon the prevailing conditions. And prepared, they always talk about situational awareness. But the situation can change. And so that's one of the things we really have to do, is try to be as nimble as possible, because there may be something that happens and we need to pivot. And I'm pretty sure with this leadership we'll be able to do that.
And I would offer, not necessarily my place to do so, but I know Dr. McKitis is open to having board members attend this work group. I think you get a lot sitting and listening and learning about what's happening, and you choose to participate in one of the subgroups, then that opportunity is there as well. So that's the way we can help, I think. So keep that in mind, please. Any other questions on this item or comments? Okay, let's go to the divisional report, Cermak Health Services, being presented by,
If you speak directly.
Okay, how's that?
Okay.
Feels the same to me, but okay. Divisional report, Cermak Health Services, presented by Manny Estrada, Chief Operating Officer of the Correctional Health Services, and his staff, his team.
Good morning and thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's more than just Manny Estrada today. You'll be meeting, if you haven't met the rest of my team, Manny Estrada, Chief Operating Officer for Cermak Health Services. To my right is Dr. Priscilla Augustin Ware, Chair of Corrections Health, and to my left is Nuri Marcelo, our Chief Nursing Officer. Today we'll be presenting you with an update to our work as it aligns to the strategic pillars for Cermak Health Services. I'll start off by presenting what work we're doing in alignment with quality, safety, and experience. All hands on deck right now for us is our accreditation efforts. We received accreditation for our OTP in 2025 by we, I mean CERMAC. Juvenile detention received their accreditation for jail standards in 2025. We are slated to have our reaccreditation survey for in June of 2026. We will be doing a dual accreditation for mental health for the first time for juvenile and for CERMAC Health Services. We're waiting for the accrediting body to give us a date, but we're shooting for the fourth quarter of 2026. And the Juvenile Detention Center was accredited by the Juvenile Administrative Office of the Illinois Courts. That speaks to the work that we're doing related to our accreditation. It's all hands on deck. So that's where we're looking a little bit haggard today because it's just point and center. Some of the latest developments that we have is the introduction of a Panorex in our intake. Our intake is the area where approximately 80 patients, new patients, walk in on a daily basis. Our responsibility is to assess these patients to ensure that they're safe, that their medical and mental health, psychotropic medications, all needs are met. We also have the embedment of oral health services with the introduction of this Panorex. We expect later part of this year to be able to introduce that. We also have the standing up and the continuation of our pharmacist-led clinics. We have medication therapy management. We have an anticoagulation clinic. We have a diabetes clinic and a medication assistant treatment clinic. These are led by our pharmacists, which allows our folks to work to the highest level of our licensures. In addition to that, we rolled out the nursing protocols at CERMAC. We have a population of about 5,700. In order to meet the needs, we provide services directly with our providers, but we want our clinicians, our nursing staff to work to the highest level of their licensure and skill set. The introduction of the nursing protocols are going to allow us to do this more efficiently and effectively for our patients. Some of the, yes.
There's a question.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
You said the current census is 5,700. I'm assuming that that's pretty consistent. You have somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 people in detention at some time, and you have the Juvenile Detection Center, and you have Cook County Jail. It'd be helpful to look at a demographic breakdown of what that 5,700 individuals are like and where they're from. So that'd be helpful information.
Yes, sir. We actually have that information. We'll be able to provide it for you. We actually did and we do an assessment on a regular basis of where our patients are coming from. And for juvenile detention, their census is approximately 200. Ours vary between 5,800, 5,700, depending on the moon, I guess. There is no rhyme or reason sometimes how it comes and flows. Interestingly, the introduction of bail reform in 2023, I believe September, saw a huge decrease in our population. We went down to about 4,600, but we continuously see the increase now. With the increase in population, it isn't necessarily the general population that we're seeing there. We're seeing a more acute need populations, both for medical and mental health. Our colleagues here on the Stroger campus can attest to the fact that they're getting some of our patients because they're sicker, and that's one of the works that we have to do is to be able to pivot based on the acuity and the nature of the patients that are coming in. This week I'm working closely with the team on the reporting out of our pregnant patients. We have a pregnant population residing at the jail, and for whatever reason, we've seen an increase in that population also. So it's an interesting situation that we're dealing with. The ability for us to pivot is what really makes us better, stronger, faster. That based on the work that we're doing with the accreditation, the quality metrics that we have. I heard earlier a presentation on the dashboards that were presented. We presented last week. Those dashboards are in place and being aligned to cascade up to the Quality and Safety Committee at the systems level. In alignment with that, we've rolled up and stood up our councils. We have a mental health council. We're setting up our medical council, our patient care services council with their subgroups are in place to be able to meet and do some of the work that's there. A little bit more than you asked, I apologize.
Well, with the council, are you talking about both staff and inmates?
It's primarily staff. It's generally us and our DOC colleagues, and including folks at the line level.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Question, something you said. You said with the bill, you saw a decrease.
Correct.
And now you said you're seeing an increase.
Correct.
Correct.
Is the bill not still in effect?
Oh, it is, absolutely. I wish I had a better answer for you. The only thing I can tell you is that we've seen just folks with charges that are major, folks that for whatever reason seem to be sicker. It may be the changes in the way folks are looking at it. So you have to appear in front of a judge, and the judge has to make that determination. We have some wonderful work that we do in trying to divert folks, those that are needy, but the population just fluctuates. Right now, we're at about 5,800.
Okay, here's another question.
Yes, sir.
If you're seeing an increase in the pregnant population and the ones that are sicker, the type of crimes that they're being brought in, are they deeper?
Yes. Yes. The answer is yes.
They're much more serious crimes. And I think some of the increase in the population is also due to the fact that people who were initially let go based on the pretrial Fairness Act, they failed that, right? And then when they go back in front of the judge is now remanding them into custody and not letting them out again.
We didn't change the behavior of our patients. So yes, initially during the bail reform, the minor charges, we released them again. But if they continue to commit minor charges, it becomes a larger charge, and that's when we saw them again. So I think with Manny, we had conversations that we predicted it will go down, but eventually it would go back up, and sure enough, that's what we're seeing now.
Oh, but you said something different. You said that it seems like they're coming back in for similar crimes, but because it's now, and I don't know this part, but it seems to be accumulative, so they have maybe a stiffer sentence. But my question is, and I had this question earlier, if I'm getting good health care, would I come back for the health care?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some of that is true, and especially in the mental health court, and I'm sure our Office of Behavioral Health can attest to some of this. There's a lot of judges that are unfortunately remanding people into jail because they know they will get the care in jail.
But there's a cheaper way to do that.
Yes. We have our behavioral health colleagues are working diligently on ensuring that we have a catch for our patients. We have a large number of mental health professionals. It's not only the system; it's the entire landscape where the need is there for mental health services. We're doing the work here. We're working and developing, and you'll hear about it a little bit later here, with reentry services, making sure that our patients have the services and the resources to be able to be serviced out in the community. We're wonderful at what we do. We don't want to be your primary care. We don't want to be your primary mental health professional. We want to make sure that the system's leveraged to be able to do that for you, and we're on our way there. I wish I can tell you it's today to tomorrow. I don't have the magic wand to say what it is, but we are directionally in the right way as the system moving.
Well, I'll go a step further. I don't think it takes a magic wand on this one. I think if we can use certain skill sets, we can figure this out, because that means there's a gap that is occurring, and your statistics prove it. So you may be doing a warm handoff, but there's absolutely a failure that the numbers indicate. And, I hate to beat the dead horse, but
Yeah, so I think some of that work is currently being done, and that's the care coordination and reentry piece. That, in itself creates a little bit of a challenge because in the jail setting, you don't know when people are getting discharged, out of the jail. These things happen in the courts, and there's no good system for the courts to communicate to us, the health system, to know that this person is being released, right? So usually around 2 a.m. in the morning is when somebody's getting out of the jail, so you don't have that way to put your arms around them. There's some work that's being done now, along with the Office of the Behavioral Health, to engage with the courts to be able to let us know in like real time when somebody's getting discharged from the jail. So we can, even though we're starting discharge planning when they come in, we could really put our arms around them. And then the care coordination piece comes in, how can we keep them out of jail, right? So on the community side, we also need to strengthen some of our programs on that side to ensure that we're providing the transportation to the clinic. We're making sure they have housing, food insecurity. We're really putting our arms around them to make sure that we reduce recidivism in that sense and keep them out of jail.
there's an organization that actually does a lot of what you just mentioned. And we can talk about it offline, but if you really want to see those numbers actually start to, if nothing else, but at least flatten, if they not go down, I think that organization may be able to help, because this is what they do, and I think they're the best in the state for sure, and one of the best in the country at it, and they're located in our state. So,
I'll ask that, Director Robertson, I'll ask that if you want to continue the conversation, just have the conversation with Manny and his staff about those connections. But what I recognize is that, you're welcome, what I recognize is that you can only do, you don't control a lot of things. And we know when they're in a community, there are significant deficits there that you don't control. So you're trying to do the best you can when the patient's in front of you. And I think going beyond, because I've looked at other correction systems in the state, and they don't have the robust infrastructure that this county system has. We know that a lot of that is outsourced. And then we've seen the reports documented in the media about the failures of those systems with those patients, and not even scratching the surface on what the county system does. Let's continue with your presentation, please.
Thank you. I'll turn it over now to Nuri, who will be speaking a little bit about workforce.
Manny gave me the tough topic to talk about, but that's okay. No, I'm actually very proud of the work we've done with the workforce. That would be the next slide. Right now, our current vacancy rate is 21%. And behind every number, there's a story that I can bore you for an hour with, but we have truly made an impact with this. So I oversee patient care services, which is our nursing department, essentially, along with our paramedics. When I started, we were at about a 40% vacancy rate. Today, we're at 27%. Even when I walked into the jail, I had one manager and two directors at the time to manage the largest single-sided jail in the country. And in my head, what did I get into? But slowly and surely, we worked with them. And I'm happy to say, as of today, we're 100% filled in our nursing manager positions. All of my positions are filled, and my same two directors are still there. And that's huge. If we can stabilize the workforce, we can dream big. So for me, that has been my highest priority, is truly stabilizing our workforce, reducing the agency, reducing the overtime, and having our staff in place.
What's your goal on where you want to be?
Can you repeat the question?
What's the goal on where you want to be for the vacancy rate?
You know, it's tricky here in the system. I would love it to be around the 10-15%, because overtime, our staff do like overtime. And we have unforeseeable circumstances that I can't say we will always be at 100%. That's not realistic. But 10% for me would be fantastic.
What are the total number of positions or staff?
I can speak about, well, Manny can talk about total FTE.
Well, you said you were at 100%.
Oh, for the nursing managers.
Nursing, yeah.
Yes, we have 12 total nursing nursing managers and directors. So when I started, like I said, I had one manager and two directors. Now I have all 12 positions filled.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and for the size of our compound, our 12, 13 buildings, it makes, like I said, dreaming big possible.
And then I was curious about, it seems like great work on the reduction of patient care services and mental health. In terms of the vacancy rate, is there anything we can learn from those processes?
There are some lessons learned. I can continue, and then in the upcoming, I'll answer that question. Yes, the mental health, we reduced it again from 40% to 15%. Medical, 18% vacancy rate. Currently, we are hiring for 2 divisional positions, and we're in the interviewing phase. I think we will fill that fairly quickly. And then we have several initiatives, one of them being the oral health training site for 4th-year dental students, which also serves as a pipeline for those students in the future. So I do have to thank the HR team and Wynn, wherever he is, I'm sure he's on. One of the biggest impacts that allowed us to make that reduction was that HR did collaborate with us and they listened to us. We had been doing hiring fairs since I started here. And in December, when we were planning our hiring fair, they really did listen. We did a CERMAC-specific hiring fair. What does that mean? It was just the CERMAC FTEs that we had for this fair. In the past, we had mixed it with Providence and with Stroger, which makes sense, right? We're trying to fill nursing positions. But what I saw was happening was a nurse, if you offer her a hospital position and a jail position, more than likely they're going to take the hospital position. So we took that, the competition away. It was really, we advertised it as a jail, CERMAC only. We had 175 people come into that fair. We filled this room. I believe I had about 35 nursing positions, all, CN1 positions, the RN positions. All the CN1 RN positions were filled during that fair. So that was very impressive. And again, we couldn't have done it without the collaboration of our HR partners.
And if I could just jump in for a second. So which is system-wide. So in the strategic plan, the goal is to get down to 10% vacancy over the 3-year period of this cycle of strategic planning. So making progress, as we're hearing. It's happening in other areas as well.
Baby steps, absolutely.
And beyond the collaboration, there have been systemic changes in terms of how we're hiring, right? The accelerated hiring has been made permanent in the employment plan. We've done process improvements within the HR team, right? So we're seeing kind of an accelerated velocity. We're on track now to probably, so if you remember last year, our net hires ended at 464. We're on track to break into 500, potentially a stretch goal of getting close to 600 net hires by the end of the year. So we'll see, fingers crossed. We're on a good trajectory right now into 26. That's going to potentially be even better than 25.
No. Fantastic work. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Fantastic. One thing that kind of makes me curious is why eliminating the hospital and then just having it strictly for the, I'm sorry. Why eliminating the hospital and just having it strictly for the jail allows you to fill it? Because a logical thought would have been that if everyone comes in, you go to where you want to, but that clearly didn't work that way.
It didn't, because if I would, in the hiring fairs, I would have about 10, 15 positions for the jail, and the hospital had about 40 positions. When you give a nurse an option, especially if they don't know corrections or they haven't heard about the potential of a job in the jail, that can sound very intimidating. So they would take, especially the newer nurses coming into the workforce, they obviously had clinicals in a hospital. They know of Cook County, they would always take the hospital positions. Whereas when we advertise this is a jail, it's part of Cook County, they did their research. So they would look up the jail, what does it do? I would get phone calls or LinkedIn, like what does a jail nurse do? We did a lot of just presentations about nursing in the jail. What does that look like? And a nurse, once they've seen the jail or they have a friend that's worked there and they've been there for a while, that's less intimidating than if you've never heard of it. So it did work out better for us, having all hands on deck. And I think we would have to do another hiring fair to see if we're as successful again with that strategy in mind.
Director Harrington.
Yeah, I want to take a different look at this and just want to commend you and the people that work with you that are willing to go into the jail and provide the services. It's one thing to be a nurse. It's another thing to be a nurse and want to go in and provide care and compassion to people that are in the jail. I've done some work at Cook County Jail earlier in my career, And I always hated to go in because I hated to hear that door close behind me, even though I knew I could get out. But once I was there, I was there, and I was there to do a job. So what you do is not easy. So I think, and I can understand the difficulty you're having in getting people to do this work because they have other options. But I do want to applaud you and your staff and your team for the job you're doing. I don't want that to get lost in this discussion. You're doing remarkable work under difficult circumstances, and you need to be commended for that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I want to add, the strategy during the hiring fair, we had our team present. I think Mandy managed jail well. I had my nursing team here, and the applicants were able to ask directly questions, having that interaction with newer nurses of what we do. I think that went a long way. Like, no, I've worked there for 10 years. It's absolutely safe. All our policies and procedures are revolving around safety and security. So that reassurance did allow us to really take a deep dive into the hiring pieces and build those reports.
Yeah, there's no doubt it's a very different, complicated environment than some other environments where you're not having to work with those restrictions, and you have a lot of restrictions you have to work with. I'm going to ask that we stay on target with our timeline and allow the staff to finish the presentation because we're only on the first page.
So as I said, we had a CERMAC-specific hiring fair, and we hope to do another one this year. We're also building partnerships with our academic institutions. Again, schools, you get clinical experiences. You don't necessarily get clinical experience inside a jail. So trying to create that pipeline, I know Dr. and I have been working on that closely, and we hope to make some progress on that this year. It's one thing hiring, it's also another thing retaining. So how do we retain? Again, I have to thank the Stroger training team that came to CERMAC, and we're currently doing a leadership training for CERMAC leaders, so that we hope to retain the leaders and give them the tools that they need to be successful in their roles. And then, of course, we're going to continue our collaboration with HR, the recruitment and the retention team to create strategies as we continue to decrease these numbers. Next slide.
So I'm going to take over from here, and I want to talk about transformation and growth and what are some of the things that we've been able to do in our space. We recently embarked on oral health integration, which is a critical step toward truly coordinating the patient as a whole patient. We've been able to integrate our CERMAC and ACHN clinics with electronic dental records, which actually allows our patients to be able to leave the jail and go to our ACHN clinics and have records available for the care to be continued. That has eliminated a lot of silos that we had before, improved care coordination, and enhanced patient safety across all settings in the health system. Manny did talk about some digital x-rays that we introduced in our intake area and also in some of our divisional dental suites. That has actually enhanced diagnostic speed for us and efficiency and accuracy for quality patient care. So that has been a huge initiative for us. Our patient care services, Nori, as our leader, when she came in, she brought a lot of expertise with her, and we definitely capitalized on that, and we're grateful for her being part of the team. Last year, they took the leadership and did the first ever Correctional Health Midwest Conference, which was very successful. We had several people from the correctional health world come and congregate here to share some best practices. We are kind of like going on that momentum and going ahead and having another correctional health conference this year, 2026, and planning is already in place. That has been a good collaboration and recruitment, and also shared some innovative practices with each other. JPDC, as we talked about, has the population of about 200. There's also been a lot of initiatives in that space and innovation in that space. We continue to provide trauma-informed care in that space. We've deployed several evidence-based best practices in that space. Structured psychotherapy for adolescents responding to chronic stress, trauma and grief therapy. We also introduced Hip Hop Heals, which is an evidence-based music therapy. We are in the process of having conversations with the JPDC leadership to create a mental health suite using one of the living units, converting it to create a multi-purpose mental health suite, which will make it much more comfortable for patients to come in. If you think about it, kind of like the CTSC that we have at Providence, but in a more, so to speak, zen space for us to provide care for our adolescents in JTDC. We're also going to be having a dog therapy program at JTDC, and thinking through the mental health accreditation that Manny talked about alongside the adult jail, doing that in the fourth quarter. In the medical service line, there's also a telehealth initiative. Dr. Makaitis has been passionate about that. We continue in that space as well. I think now we are at a point where we have a lot of service lines who are on board, and that is expanding access to care, especially for specialty care, which is much needed on the compound. It also helps prevent us from moving patients from the compound to come to our flagship here at Schroeder, also allowing for us to have community slots available for our patients at Schroeder, so the patients at the Cook County Jail do not take up those community slots if we can do the same at the jail and inside the jail. So that has been a huge initiative. In our mental health service line, we're doing a lot of work with the Office of Behavioral Health, collaborating with them, as well as with DHS to improve transitions of care. There's been some challenges with transferring patients who are unfit to stay in trial to DHS and back and forth. So there's been some work around that to make sure that we improve the transitions of care in that space as well. Care coordination and reentry, we talked about that a lot already. There's a lot of work that's being done. Manny will probably a little bit later talk about the 1115 waiver. We're all anticipating and hoping that that actually gets in place so we can capitalize on some of that initiative and really make our care coordination and reentry services robust for our patients as well. And data analytics, I mean, I think CERMAC is very well known for how robust data analytics is. We have several dashboards that looks at some of our quality metrics, and we're continuing in that space and really looking at different things. One of the things that has been really key for us is looking at utilization management. Some of the patients who are actually transferring from CERMAC through our urgent care to Schroeder emergency room has been one of the initiatives that we've been looking at now, really making sure that they're appropriate transfers. Because if we have the resources on the compound, we should be using those resources efficiently and to the maximum. So making sure that our transfers are actually appropriate to be transferred over, and some of those are expressed in our metrics as well. And I think we will be remiss if we don't talk about infection control and population health in a correctional setting. We were able to fill our FTE for our infectious disease physician who has onboarded fully and also integrated in our health system here at Schroeder, does some inpatient work over here. This allows him to really be integrated and know what the systems are to be able to bring that best practices back. We've engaged in several vaccination programs on the compound with what's going on out in the community, collaborating with Dr. Joshi's team and also CDPH to make sure that we are staying engaged in some of the different things that are going on. We are also reviewing all our infection control protocols to make sure they are in line with best practices, and collaborating with a large jail collaboration that happens every month, including New York, California, to be able to share best practices in our infection control protocol.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Fiscal resilience. This is everybody's favorite topic, right? How do we save money? How do we make better efficient, better effective decisions? Some of the initiatives that we have are with pharmacy, our manufacturer assistance program. This is where our pharmacy actively engages in trying to leverage as much as we can for the high cost of medications to be able to either get it at reduced and or no charge. We've spent a lot of time with our pharmacists to ensure that we follow the process protocols, making sure that we do the documentation that's there. We'll be able to better understand what impact we're having as we roll that out a little bit better. Our hope is that we'll be able to make an impact when it comes to our medication costs. Some upcoming priorities. Juvenile detention is looking at enhancing their satisfaction survey. That is one of the few correctional health organizations that I'm aware of that does a patient satisfaction survey. It's difficult to do it in our environment for a variety of reasons, but they do a tremendous job. Their goal is to increase satisfaction and by, as a result, decreasing some of the needs that we may have out there for medical and mental health. For mental health, we have a challenging population. I referenced in the earlier slide deck our Division 9, which is our supermax at the jail. This is high need behavioral issue patient population. We will be looking to roll out a behavioral health management unit. This unit will focus on the high utilizer of services. These are individuals that have behaviors that are similar to self-injurious, people that cut, people that burn, people that insert, people that swallow. These are folks that will be working closely with our DOC colleagues to be able to look at a finite tier population of approximately 10 to 15 of identified individuals that we'll be able to hopefully keep on site rather than send out for more just intensive and expensive services here in the facility. We expect to roll that out within the next couple of months. It's the introduction to enhance another unit that we have as the ABLE unit. The ABLE unit is for our less acute patients, but also high need patients, where we're able to focus more on the therapeutic aspect. The BMU is more on the custodial aspect of it, so we'll be balancing both populations to be able to keep folks on site. We're proud to tell you that we've been able to leverage fellowships with Rush for our addiction medicine folks. We have an OTP program that's accredited, you heard earlier today. Even with the accredited OTP program, one of the few, if not the only one in the state of Illinois in a correctional facility, we have a need that is not being met. We know that. It speaks to the need that we have in the community. With the fellowship from Rush, we'll be looking to get to addiction medicine clinicians to help support the program that we have with Dr. Nowinski and our folks at the jail. And we're also looking to have a fellowship program with Northwestern University for two forensic psychiatrists. We talked a little bit about leveraging relationships with academic facilities. We'll be able to recruit, hopefully, from some of the folks that we put through the fellowship program. Ultimately, we spoke about the reduction in vacancies. Personally speaking, not because I work there, not because we're leaders there, I think reputation really does dictate people wanting to come to work with us now. We've made that huge impact in mental health. All of our psychiatrist positions are filled. Most of our master's level therapists are filled. We do that, and we're making those strides in our patient care services because people recognize the work that we're doing there. We'll continue to do that with the reputation of the system to hopefully get us to a better place. I'll talk a little bit more on the 1115 on the next slide, but just to let you know, the 1115 is still a program. It's the, I'll give you a little bit more. It's the reentry aspect of what we've discussed in almost every slide that we have here. We're restructuring not only our operational departments, but our clinical departments to better align to the work that we do. We're looking at where our costs are in moonlighting, where our costs are in overtime, where our costs are in agency. I'm happy to report that as we increase the FTE count that we have on our side, the agency dollars decrease. The overtime hours we expect to decrease. With the staffing up, we hope to make that physical impact on the work that we do there. And we also look at the services that we provide. We have a program where we look at folks that get transferred to Stroger either for a higher level of care and or for specialty services. Dr. Augustin referenced some of the initiatives that we have with telehealth. Our goal is to provide, because we do have the robust services at CERMEC, as much as we can on site to minimize the need to transfer off site for different services that are there.
I'd like, and before we go off fiscal resilience, just want to make the comment that, just to remind ourselves that the services are provided to those residents that were on Medicaid before they came in the system are not reimbursed for the investments that are being made to treat those residents. And I think when you consider that and you hear this presentation, I would think it has a different impact on each of us, because it's not as though the state or the federal government's helping underwrite the cost of those investments, because their Medicaid is suspended while they're in this experience. So something to keep in mind as it relates to fiscal resilience. Go ahead.
Correct. Thank you, yes, and thank you for bringing that. Now we'll talk a little bit about CERMEC key takeaways. We're looking at development with the purposes of making sure that we introduce our patients back to the community. We're looking to see how do we leverage our own resources via the health system. How do we establish relationships with some of the community organizations that's out there to do the warm, to do the soft handoffs, to ensure that folks have some services to receive with resources. I'll take a second to remind everybody, we are a temporary detention center. That means our folks, the vast percentage of the folks that are there, are going to be back out in the community because they're not guilty. They're waiting for adjudication under charges, and a good percentage of them are going to have their charges unfounded. They're not going to be found guilty, and or if they're found guilty, they're going to be with us less than a year generally. So these folks are coming back. Our patients are coming back because they are part of the community. I spent time before I came to the jail, as did Dr. Augustin, out in the ambulatory component of the health and hospital system. I learned there that the patients that I saw at Prieto, the patients that I saw at North Riverside, the patients that I saw at Woodlawn are the same patients that I'm seeing at the jail. So we share the patient population. We need to make sure that we do the work to connect them. This is where I'll talk a little bit about the 1115 waiver. What you described, Director, is absolutely true. We cannot bill for services because coverage for Medicaid is suspended when you're incarcerated. The 1115 waiver, in theory, allows us to bill for 90 days of reentry introduction services pre-discharge. That allows us to take a look at potentially leveraging Medicaid coverage for the 30-day supply of medication that we have to provide for our patients, the reentry and introduction services that we do, the durable medical goods that we provide to patients, the medication that we provide, and some of the therapeutic and medical services and assessments that we do for our patients. Unfortunately, at this point, it's moving forward in different aspects of the 1115 waiver. Reentry is slated to be revisited in 2007. We'll be following up with them, but we are preparing now for getting ready for when that turns on, that we're better aligned to do what we can. That will hopefully be able to position us in a much better position to get our patients to be successful with reentry. We continue to focus on the mental health population. You heard me speak about the BMU, the ABLE unit. The mental health population that we have at the jail is one that requires intensive care. We collaborate with the Department of Human Services for the folks that Dr. Augustin referenced earlier. We have folks that have been unfit to stand trial. We maintain them until they're ready to go. We work closely with DHS to get them out there as quickly as we can so they can be fit to stand trial and come back and finalize their process, but that continues to be a work in progress. We do an incredible amount of work on identifying folks that are non-compliant for medication based on their mental health diagnosis, and we petition the court in certain cases as appropriate for medication administration. We have we have approximately 2 cases that are working per month. Our goal is to get 6 cases per quarter. We're aligned to be able to do the work we need to do there. The onboarding of the psychiatrist has made that something that's viable and doable for us. We continue with our efforts in recruitment and retention. Nuri's embedded. She does the work that she needs to do. Why did she get those 29 positions or 39 positions filled? Because she went out there. She recruited. She did the work. Dr. Bednarz goes out there, recruits the psychiatrist. Dr. Augustin goes out there, recruits the doctors. We go out there because we want to make sure that we're reflectant of the work that needs to be done with the professionals that we need to have in place. So I thank both my colleagues for the work that they do, because with them, we've been able to make a difference and ultimately, hopefully, get to that 10% that Dr. Makaitis has referenced for our vacancy rate. We've done that almost in mental health. We went from a 40 to a 14% because of the work that we did in the recruitment and the retention, because we have not lost them. We'll continue to collaborate with the academic institutions as I described earlier, and ultimately, we're looking to improve our operational and clinical efficiencies. We are a data-driven organization. I'm old enough to know when it's going to rain because my bones hurt. I don't do that at CERMAC. I know I will make a decision based on data. Raji can attest to the fact that we are data-driven, and we don't make decisions based on we feel, we think. We measure, we assess, we change, we reassess, and we cycle again to make sure that we do decisions. The decisions we make are based on factual impact on the things that we do at CERMAC. That concludes our presentation for today. I'll open it up for any questions.
So let me say that it's clear to me that your work isn't limited to the 4 walls of the CERMAC location. You're clearly in the community in multiple ways, building pipelines and relationships, and it's a very impressive effort that the team has taken on. And I would remind the board that Manny has offered tours of their facility and their operations for the board, to the board, to experience. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about questions and things. They're available to take us through that experience.
Absolutely.
We'll just take a few questions because we have to go into closed session and we have a tight timeline with that experience. So any questions or comments?
I'd like to thank you for all of this outline, not only of what you're doing, but of where you've come from, to be able to show the improvements, particularly in behavioral health, substance use services that you've been able to bring. I actually was in a conversation yesterday with CDPH where we were discussing a new program called Chicago Street Psychiatry that's going to work with those high utilizers that you identified in the BMU units and the ABLE units. And I said, we had just had a couple of months ago a discussion of how clients, once they got involved in services at CERMAC, stayed at CERMAC, and why were we losing them and then falling off the list to then come back right back into these either getting reincarcerated because of the healthcare services. But I look forward to meeting with you more to speak on how we can partner with the programs that are at Rush and UIC that are going to be working with trying to collaborate on those high utilizers and why they tend to cycle so consistently through the services that have been so consistently trusting and addressing them. But certainly, people are going to go where they feel like they can place their trust. So we certainly see that there's a lot that we can learn from what you're already doing that can now also come to the outside environment as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate you say that because, you know, a lot of people, when they know their case is coming to an end, will catch a jail case so they can stay.
They can stay.
Yeah.
Because they know they're going to be in a place where they're going to get their needs met and taken care of. And that's something that we, particularly on the outside services and outpatient services, need to say, okay, wait a minute, what is happening that's not happening in an outpatient service, so that people feel comfortable enough to continue to place themselves where they know that they can get good care.
Thank you, Director Sorrell, for the thoughtful and insightful comments. Director Bott.
Yeah, so I just echo Director Harrington and Director Sorrell's comments, and picking up with Director Sorrell, I think thinking about those proactive gaps that can be addressed. And one of the other things that came to mind is I was thinking about some of the earlier conversation that Dr. Priscilla somewhere talked about in terms of what we can control and we can't. You know, is there a way to think about the ADT fee, the admission discharge transfer fee that pings when people move, you know, between primary care and hospital and nurse post-acute? Can we apply that in this situation in a way to think about, and that would be a pioneering kind of innovation that CIRMAC can again lead, as they always have, in innovating in this space about, you know, as people move around, both in clinical and non-clinical settings, will that help us think about it? So it's just another thought. And then third, I want to just recognize and call out Dr. Priscilla Augustin-Ware, who you all should be very proud of because of the way that she showed up in a nationally recognized leadership program, our Physician Leadership Academy, which Dr. Makaitis will share more about next month, because Dr. Eric O'Neill was part of that as well. But, you know, for those 20 physicians involved in the life sciences, healthcare, tech like Google, CBS, to have an understanding of correctional health and what it means to engage in that space in such a compassionate and caring manner, and what it does for our communities, I think was eye-opening for them. And we graduated those 20 physicians recently, and so I just want to appreciate both Cook County and Dr. Makaitis for supporting CCH physicians, and that for Dr. Augustin-Ware for her leadership and contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you for your thoughts, Jay. Very valuable. Any other questions, comments before I close this out? Thank you. We had to let these people get back to the work at hand. Excellent work, everybody.
Thank you.
Excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, the open portion of this board meeting will be completed now. The agenda is completed, so we'll move to item 8, closed meeting items. The board will now be going into closed session. Action is not expected to be taken when the board returns to the open meeting. So I will ask for a motion to go into a closed meeting pursuant to the following exceptions to the Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120, 2C1 to 11, 12, and 17. And once we have a first and second, Madam Secretary will take the roll. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you for the second. Is there any discussion or comments? I'll turn it over to you for the roll.
Roll call on the motion to go into closed session. Aye or nay? Director Bott?
Aye.
Director Harrington?
Aye.
Director Kim?
Aye.
Vice Chair Lowry?
Aye.
Director Masood Barnett?
Aye.
Director Ryder is absent. Director Robinson?
Aye.
Director Sorrell?
Aye.
Director Staines? Chair Garza?
Aye. So we'll need a few minutes to clear the room, and then we'll reconvene in closed session. The open board meeting part of this is closed, is over. Thank you.